We continue our reading and reflection on the Mahabharata. This is from the English translation of the Mahabharata by Kamala Subramaniam and published by the Bhavan's Book University. This is chapter 4, the Vow of Celibacy. We read, Devavrata found his father suddenly different. Gone were the happy days of perfect companionship. The new father would not talk to him even as he was wont to do. The prince tried his best to make him disclose to him the cause of this despondency, but his attempts were fruitless. The king lost interest in everything, even in his favorite pastime, hunting. At long last, the king spoke to Devavrata one day. He said, "In this great house of the Kurus, you are an only son. You are, to me, more than 100 sons put together. Nor am I keen on marrying again. But I am worried about the fact that you are an only son. It is like having one eye. God has granted you a long life. I know it. But my mind is clouded. The wise say that having an only son is like having no son at all. You are a great warrior. If anything should happen to you in one of the wars, the great lineage of the Kurus will be without an heir. It will be destroyed. This has been the worry which is working havoc in my mind." The prince stood silent for a moment, then he walked away without speaking a word. Devavrata walked away because he knew, although his father was saying all of these things, these were all excuses. Because deep down there was something else that was worrying his father. And therefore, Devavrata wanted to find out the real reason for his father's despondency. Let us continue reading. Devavrata went at once to the charioteer of the king. His intelligence had penetrated through the screen of words that his father had created. He accosted the charioteer in his direct manner. He asked, "You are my father's friend and confidant. Tell me, who is this woman who has captured my father's heart? Tell me at once so that I can do the needful and make him happy." After much hesitation, the charioteer said, "My lord, the king may not approve of my telling you. The woman is the daughter of a fisherman. He has annexed your father's heart. The king asked her father for the hand of his daughter. He refused to grant the king his wish unless he acceded to his condition that the son born of his daughter should be installed as king on the throne of the Pauravas. Your father thought of you. Not being able to do the unthinkable, the king returned to Hastinapura." Without telling his father, Devavrata set out towards the forest. He reached the dwelling place of the fisherman. The woman whom his father loved was there near the bank of the Yamuna, tying up the boat. She looked at him and for a moment thought that it was the king himself. Devavrata saluted her and asked to be taken to the presence of her father. The fisherman greeted his guest with all respect due to him. Without any preamble, the prince spoke. "I hear that my father, the great monarch of Hastinapura, is smitten with love for your daughter. What else do you want? Do you think you have not been honored enough when the king of the entire world comes to you asking you for a favor? You have, I heard, the audacity to refuse him his heart's desire?" "My lord," said the fisherman, "I wanted a prince. I know very well that a great honor has been conferred on me when your father wanted the hand of my daughter. But it has been predicted that the son of Satyavati will be a monarch. I know all about you. You are the crown prince, the Yuvaraja. The king dotes on you. And so, he was silent when I stated to him my condition. He could not grant it to me. This is all that happened. Now, we see that Devavrata has understood the real reason for his father's despondency. While his father had fallen in love with the fisherman's daughter, he could not accept the condition that the fisherman had put, because it would mean that Devavrata could never be the king of Hastinapura. And that is something that Shantanu could not accept. We'll continue reading. A frown of annoyance passed across the face of Devavrata. That his dear father should have wanted something and could not get it was a thing he could not imagine. He said, "You want your grandson to be the king after my father. So be it. I will renounce my claim to the throne. Now are you satisfied?" The young prince, the hope of the world, amazed the fisherman by his words. A look of unbelief came to the eyes of the fisherman. He was dumbfounded at the casual manner in which this young prince renounced the throne. He smiled and said, "My lord, you are indeed a true prince. Your father's happiness means everything to you. In your nobleness, you have renounced the throne. But how can I be sure that your sons will be just as selfless as you are? What assurance have I that they will not contest the claims of Satyavati's son?" The prince was shocked at the extent of the man's cupidity. With a smile of contempt, he said, "Not satisfied yet? I will satisfy you. I will not marry. I vow before the denizens of heaven and earth and the nether regions, in the name of all that is dear and sacred to me, in the name of my Guru Bhagavan Bhargava, in the name of my mother Ganga, in the name of dharma, that I will never marry as long as I live. Now, are you really satisfied?" Flowers rained on him from the heavens. The word bhishma resounded from all the quarters. So terrible was the vow he had taken. "Here she is," said the fisherman, "your mother." He brought Satyavati. He stood her before the prince. Devavrata saluted her, placed her in his chariot, and rushed towards Hastinapura. We can see here how this one vow, this one oath, in a sense, sets the tone for the entire Mahabharata. No one knows what shape the story would have taken if Devavrata had not taken this vow. Let us continue reading. Devavrata hastened to the presence of his father. He presented the young woman to him and said, "Father, I have brought her for you. Please take her and shake off this despondency. Please be happy, father." The sky was still resounding with the cry, "Bhishma, Bhishma." Shantanu heard all that had happened. He was stricken with grief. Perhaps his conscience smote him. He could not bear to think of his son, so full of manliness, so beautiful, so divine, living a life of permanent self-imposed celibacy. But the web, once woven, we cannot unweave. Shantanu had got his heart's desire. In his gratitude and his love for this son of his, he granted a boon to his beloved son. Devavrata could die when it pleased him and only when it pleased him. Death had to wait on him. All the king's accumulated tapas was used up for this boon. In his own way, he was trying to make up to his son for all that he had missed in life. Shantanu, as we can see, is feeling a little guilty that he has been the cause of this distress. He has been the cause of robbing away from Devavrata his right to the throne. And in trying to make up for this, he offers him the choice, offers him the ability to choose when and where he could die. We'll continue reading. The marriage between Shantanu and Satyavati was celebrated. The king spent a few happy years with her. 2 sons were born to them. They were named Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. The years rolled by only too soon, and the king, now grown old, passed away in course of time and was gathered to his forefathers. It was now evident that Devavrata, better known as Bhishma, had to bear the burden of the kingdom. Prince Chitrangada was too young to be entrusted with the kingdom. Bhishma installed him as the Yuvaraja and acted as regent for him. Bhishma spent several uneventful years thus. Nothing remarkable happened. All on a sudden, tragedy struck like a thunderbolt. There was a Gandharva king called Chitrangada. He did not relish the idea of a mortal having his name. He challenged the human Chitrangada to fight with him and prove himself to be worthy of his name. On the field of Kurukshetra, there was fought a battle between the 2 Chitrangadas. Shantanu's son was vanquished and killed. Bhishma was stricken with grief. He performed the coronation of the younger son of Satyavati. Again, the regency fell on the shoulders of Bhishma. He ruled the kingdom in the name of his brother. The people were very happy. Everyone was happy in Hastinapura under the rule of their uncrowned king, Bhishma. This ends chapter 4, titled The Vow of Celibacy. But as we see here, the first steps in what will unfold, in the great tragedies that will unfold, have been set in motion with this one vow that Bhishma has taken. We'll continue to explore the Mahabharata as well.